You guys having fun tonight? So, in order to participate and stand up for mental health, we have to have a mental health diagnosis. And it's really not easy to have a mental illness. You know, there's such a stigma. And you never know how somebody's going to react when they find out. I told somebody recently, he didn't believe me. He's like, get out of here. You don't have a mental illness. It's all in your mind. I said, it is. As a matter of fact, last month I was in the psych ward for paranoid delusions. He's like, no way, you must have been imagining things. I was. They ended up doing electroshock therapy, but all it did was mess up my memory. He's like, I don't believe any of this. You must be remembering wrong. So I've always struggled with anxiety all my life, and I thought I'd finally, gotten a handle on it. But recently I've had to start taking anxiety medication before I get into public restrooms. I can't keep up with the technology. For instance, I was at the movie theater the other day, went in the restroom, and the toilet flushed all by itself, and all I did was hold out my hands and the water came out. And with the swipe of a hand, I got a paper towel. How cool is that? The next day, I went to another restroom, public restroom. After 8 minutes of waiting for the flush, I finally gave up. So this lady went in after me, and right away I heard the flush. I said, how did you do that? She says, it's called a lever, you dingbat. So I went to wash my hands, and I waited, so I started swiping and angling. I hate these things, they never work. She walks up, turns on the handles, and goes, it's not rocket science, lady. So not to look like a fool again, I went over to the paper towel rack and was looking for the handle. And I couldn't find the handle. My hands are dripping. Where is the paper towel? She walks up, swipes one out, and goes, what, did you grow up using an outhouse? I said, yeah, but it was fully automated. On top of everything else, I'm having a lot of problems with my hearing. It's so frustrating. The other day I was talking to some company on the phone, and I had to keep saying, what? I can't hear you. That's the last time I talked to a dial tone. I knew my hearing problems were really serious when I had to ask my voices to speak up. It's true. Really hurt my feelings when the voices screamed back, we weren't talking to you! One time on the psych ward, we played volleyball at recreation, and I got to thinking, it would have been really cool if we had named the teams by diagnosis. So, like, you could have the multiple personality team. You only need one guy for that. Actually, he could be both teams. And then you have the OCD team, but they'd never win. They're afraid to touch the ball. Oh, and then you could have the post-traumatic stress team. Every time the ball came sailing over, they'd duck and go, incoming! And then there's the schizophrenia team. They'd always be looking at the ref and going, why are you following me? So, I've had a few therapists in my time, and let me tell you, they have their issues too. But my therapist, Henrietta, she was awful. You see, I got this friend named Doug, and he's got this pet chicken, and he sits her in his lap and pets her for hours. And he always says, yeah, chickens are good therapy. And I was intrigued by this, so I thought, well, I borrowed her to be my therapist for a day. So I took her home and I sat her down and I began to pour out my problems to her. And the whole time I'm talking, she's going. word I said. I just got telling you my deepest conflicts, my darkest deeds, and all you did was bob, twitch, and strut. Don't you have any response at all to my confessions? She's all cluck, cluck, dumb cluck, 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 dumb cluck. And then she laid an egg. I got really mad. So I picked her up and I took her back to Doug, and he's like, what? What happened? What's wrong? I said, she's a terrible therapist. She's got Tourette's, attention deficit, and a smart mouth. All I got out of it was breakfast. So this is the end of my set. You've been a great audience. Don't miss my HBO special tomorrow night, 8 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you very much.